The Dr. Phil Show has been on air since 2002, and in that time he has interviewed hundreds of guests and offered his assistance. Some of them, though, are beyond help. And over the years, there have been a number of psycho kids that you wouldn't believe. In this video, we'll be taking a look at 10 of the worst. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel to find out about the latest videos. Now, here are the 10 most psycho kids on Dr. Phil. Number 10. Tornado of Drama. In 2016, Steve and Stephanie went on Dr. Phil for help with their 15-year-old son, Preston. Describing their home as an absolute war zone, his mom said he was completely out of control. He would often break things around the house just for the fun of it and hit both of his parents. His mom had bruises all over her body from the attacks. She also claimed that he touches her on the breasts and buttocks to try and get her to react. Steve admitted to having hit his son with a belt to try and control him, but it doesn't stop incidents like when Preston punched him in the face and caused his nose to bleed. Despairing, the parents have called the police a number of times, and they have run out of ideas about what to do. Dr. Phil then interviewed Preston, who simply said, "I don't like getting told what to do. My parents can try disciplining me, but I never do what they want me to do." Number 9. Police called more than 100 times on daughter. Tom and Karen went on the show in 2017 with their 15-year-old daughter, Madison. She apparently was a regular drinker, smoked weed, took Xanax, had tried LSD, and was beginning to get her younger brother into trouble too. The parents had called the police more than 100 times to try and control their daughter, who had been charged 4 times for domestic abuse against her father. They also claimed that their daughter had stolen their car at least 30 times, saying that the most recent time she had got into trouble with the law because of a car crash that had happened following a high-speed chase. The parents feared that they were top of her kill list, something she supposedly wrote after watching the movie The Purge. Madison, however, denied this, and while admitting to smoking weed, taking LSD, and getting into a car accident, she insisted that she was a typical fun-loving teen. Number 8. Out of control 8-year-old. Sherry and Todd's 8-year-old son was taken on Dr. Phil in 2017, with the couple having run out of ideas of what to do. They admitted that they didn't get along very well, but the actions of their son were making things worse. He apparently regularly steals money, has stolen credit cards, and had even stolen a car, which he then crashed. It had gotten to the point where they were using medicine to try and calm him down, which Sherry felt was working and wanted to continue with. Todd thought the complete opposite though, and felt that it may have made things even worse. Dr. Phil spoke with the boy, and while there were clearly some issues that needed working on, he summed up the situations to the parents quite simply. "I think he's just in a lot of pain, and I think the parenting going on is dysfunctional." Number 7. This kid is so entitled, it's incredible. 15-year-old Rivers was taken on Dr. Phil because of his attitude. He would refuse to go to school, constantly call his parents names, and get violent when he didn't get his own way. His parents, Hunter and Angie, were at a breaking point, and it was putting an immense strain on their relationship. Dr. Phil understood where they were coming from, but felt like they were partly to blame. "This kid is so entitled," he said, "it's incredible." He felt that because Rivers was acting this way at the age of 15, there was only one way he could help, by sending him to the Turnabout Ranch, where they use a combination of therapy, academics, and hard work to try and turn things around. Hopefully for Hunter and Angie, this will have made things a lot better, but only time will tell. Number 6. Pregnant with Jesus. Haley had been on Dr. Phil a few times, each with increasingly delusional beliefs. The first time she was on, she was convinced that she was 9 months pregnant and that her child was baby Jesus. Despite a number of pregnancy tests and even an ultrasound showing that she wasn't pregnant, she was adamant that she was. She returned on another episode and had finally concluded that the pregnancy was just stomach gas. But now, she was convinced that Eminem was her father, and that she had been a contestant on American Idol, both things that were definitely not the case. Dr. Phil arranged for Haley to go to a treatment facility to try and help her get over her demons. But she has been on a few episodes since, so it hasn't seemed to work. Number 5. Obsessed with knives. Kim and her former partner Ryan took their 7-year-old son Ryan to see Dr. Phil in 2015. He was adopted and born with an addiction to meth and a family history of bipolar disorder. They first realized something wasn't right when he was 18 months old and held his breath until he passed out. Then, when he was 3 years old, he stabbed a watermelon repeatedly with 10 knives. At age 6, he locked himself in the bathroom and cut off the tips of his fingers with razor blades because an imaginary robot called Bleeder told him to do it. They were quite understandably worried for Ryan, worried for themselves, and worried that they were raising a serial killer. They had placed him in 6 different hospitals, none of which could help. The show concluded with Dr. Phil reminding viewers that the boy's mother had been a meth addict and that the full effects of using the drug while pregnant are unknown. He offered help to the parents however he could, but it's not clear if that has made any difference since. Number 4. When you disrespect me, I'll rip your head off. Chris and Barbara went on Dr. Phil with their daughter Courtney, who they said was simply out of control. She herself admitted to being a bully and acting out, stealing, taking drugs, drinking alcohol, and has trouble controlling her anger. She had been suspended from school 7 times, been expelled, and even punched her principal in the face for waking her up in class. She had threatened to kill her mom, and even that she would burn the house down. When Dr. Phil spoke to her, she was able to talk calmly about things, but even then she described the feeling she gets when she's disrespected, saying, "When you disrespect me, I'll rip your head off." Dr. Phil suggests that maybe her threshold for feeling disrespected was a lot lower than other people's, and she agreed that it was very easy to set her off. Although she seemed calm by the end of the show, she lashed out at her parents in the green room afterwards, proof that the troubles will continue. Number 3. Slap my mom. This is one of the most famous incidents from Dr. Phil, and happened more than a decade ago. This boy and his mom clearly have a disconnect in their relationship, and he feels that she mistreats him. He talks about how she yanks his arm and constantly tells him what to do, rather than letting him make his own decisions. She tries to reason with him and explain herself, but he continuously tells her to shut up, and when she backs off, he says, "How do you feel?" Things escalate fast though. He points in her direction and moves closer in towards her, and it starts to feel like something more is going to happen. They continue to argue about who's boss, and that he feels demeaned by how often she tells him to be quiet. Then, it happens. It seems like things are calming down, and he leans in to slap his mom. Number 2. Cash Me Outside. Next is the Cash Me Outside girl, who has become somewhat of an online phenomenon since her appearance on Dr. Phil. So much so that for Christmas in 2017, she paid off her mom's mortgage. 14-year-old Danielle Bregoli was first on the show in 2016 in an episode about her parents and their truly unruly teens. Her mom, Barbara, was struggling with Danielle running away from home 4 times a day, smoking weed, stealing her credit card and her car. Feeling picked on by the audience, she shouted at them and called them whores, followed with "Cash me outside, how about that?" In a flash, she had become one of America's most obnoxious children, but one who would go on to harness this fame. She is now an Instagram celebrity. With so many followers, she can apparently charge $40,000 per post to advertisers. She also, in 2017, pled guilty in a Florida court to grand theft auto, filing a false report, and drug possession. She was, as a result, handed a 5-year probationary order, which will last until she's 19 and places a curfew on her while she remains living with her mom in California. Number 1. Violence makes me feel comfortable. This brings us to the final kid on the countdown, Aneska. She went on Dr. Phil in 2016, with her parents worrying that she would end up in jail. For years, she has been keeping them in a state of panic because of her unusual behavior. She had threatened to kill her mom, choked her sister, kicked her brother, stole credit cards, threatened teachers at school, and even set fire to her garage. At the age of 6, she bludgeoned her family's hamster to death with a flashlight, and the following year killed a nest of baby birds by squeezing each one to death, because a voice told her they would kill her family. She seems nice enough when Dr. Phil spoke to her, but her parents believe her behavior all stems from an accident when she was young and fell off her tricycle. The following week, her behavior noticeably changed and has been getting worse ever since. She says that violence makes her feel comfortable and even describes herself as 10 out of 10 for badness. Thank you very much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and check out one of the other 2 videos on the screen.